Success doesn't come from doing more, it comes from doing what matters without distraction. This isn't about hustle culture or burnout. It's about clarity, stillness, direction. The truth? The real winners aren't the loudest. They're the most disciplined, the most focused, the most intentional. This is the path that few are willing to walk, but it's the one that leads the farthest. And once you commit to it, nothing can stop you. This is the truth no one tells you, until now. Chapter 1. Practice daily silence to sharpen your inner clarity. Silence is uncomfortable for most people. When everything gets quiet, your mind gets louder. You start hearing all those thoughts you've been avoiding. The doubts, the worries, the questions about your life, your choices, your future. And that's why most people keep running from silence. They stay busy. They stay distracted. They don't want to face themselves. But if you want clarity, if you want a deeper understanding of where your life is going, then silence is not optional. It's essential. Silence helps you listen. Not to the world, not to other people, but to yourself. And if you never stop and listen to yourself, how will you know what you truly need? Think about this. Every day your attention is being pulled in 100 directions. Emails, messages, opinions, news, trends, updates. You're constantly reacting to life, never leading it. Daily silence flips that around. It puts you back in control. When you sit alone in silence, even just 10 or 15 minutes, it slows your breathing. Your thoughts stop racing. Your heartbeat softens. And then something amazing happens. Your real thoughts come forward. Not the shallow thoughts like, what should I wear, or what's for dinner? But the deeper ones like, am I really happy right now? What do I need to change in my life? What do I believe in? What am I avoiding? This is clarity, and it only shows up in silence. Now practicing silence daily doesn't mean sitting in a dark room for hours doing nothing. It means choosing a moment every day to disconnect from everything around you. No phone, no music, no scrolling. Just you, sitting quietly, breathing deeply, thinking clearly. This space is sacred. It gives you the power to separate your true priorities from the noise. It helps you realize how much energy you're wasting on things that don't matter. Maybe you've been chasing things you don't even want. Maybe you've been stuck in habits that make you feel empty. Maybe you're pretending to be okay when you're not. You can't fix any of that without clarity. And clarity lives in silence. Some of the most successful and focused people in the world take time every day to sit in silence, not because they have nothing to do, but because they understand the value of it. When your mind is calm, your decisions become sharper. When your thoughts are clear, your actions become intentional. When you're connected to yourself, your confidence grows. You stop needing approval from others. You stop doubting your own worth. You stop chasing distractions. Instead, you start building your life from a place of strength and awareness. And this isn't about being perfect. It's about being present. It's about giving yourself the space to slow down and check in. Think about how different your life could feel if before every major decision, you took time to sit in silence and really understand what you wanted. How much pain could you avoid? How much confusion could you clear? How much energy could you save? Silence doesn't make your problems disappear, but it helps you face them with a clear mind. And when your mind is clear, you become stronger. You respond instead of reacting. You lead instead of following. You decide instead of drifting. Most people never give themselves this gift. They say they're too busy. They say silence feels weird. They say they'll try it later. But the longer you delay, the more you drift away from your center, and the further you drift, the harder it gets to come back. The truth is, The noise will never stop on its own. You have to stop it. You have to make the decision to pause, to disconnect, to listen. You owe that to yourself. So start with a small habit. Wake up and spend the first 10 minutes of your day in complete silence. No phone, no music, just you and your breath. Let your thoughts settle. Let your mind open up. Or take a break during the day. Go for a quiet walk. Sit in your room. Close your eyes and breathe. The more you do it, the easier it becomes. The easier it becomes, the more natural it feels. And soon you'll crave that silence, not because it's quiet, but because it brings peace. It brings clarity. It brings strength. It brings you back to who you really are. The world may never teach you this, but you don't need the world's permission to choose silence. You just need your own commitment to make it part of your life. Because once you make silence a daily practice, your life begins to shift. Not all at once, but slowly, quietly, powerfully. You stop chasing. You stop rushing. You start listening. You start seeing. You start living with purpose. And that is the path no one talks about. But it's the path that leads to the kind of success that actually matters. It's not flashy. It's not loud. But silence changes everything. If you want clarity in your life, it starts with a decision. Choose silence. Not once, but every single day. Because when the world gets quiet, your heart gets louder. And in that stillness, you'll find direction, peace and power. You don't need more noise to be successful. You need more clarity. And silence is how you find it. This is audiobook wisdom, and this is the path worth walking. One moment of silence at a time. Chapter 2. Eliminate noise to build deep mental focus. Noise is more than sound. It's anything that pulls your attention away from what actually matters. And in today's world, that kind of noise is everywhere. It's the endless feed of videos. It's checking your phone every few minutes. It's jumping between 10 things and never finishing one. It's the opinions, the comparisons, the distractions. Most people live in that environment every day and wonder why they feel tired, confused, or behind. It's not because they lack motivation. It's because their focus is being stolen, bit by bit, by noise they didn't even notice. If you want real focus, you have to protect your attention like it's your most valuable asset, because it is. Without focus, your time is wasted. Without focus, your mind is scattered. Without focus, your goals just stay on paper. But when you cut the noise, everything changes. You gain time. You think clearly. You start finishing what you start. That's how high performers live. They don't do more things. They do fewer things with more focus. It starts with awareness. Look at how your day is structured. Look at how many notifications hit your phone. Look at how often you switch tasks. It might seem normal, but it's not effective. Multitasking is not productivity. It's actually a trap. It feels like you're getting more done, but your brain is constantly switching gears. Every time you check a message while working, it takes your brain time to refocus. Do that enough times, and your focus becomes fragile. You lose your rhythm. Deep focus comes when you cut those interruptions out completely. Start by creating clear spaces for deep work. Set a time every day, even just 60 minutes, where you do nothing except the task in front of you. No checking the phone, no background noise, no bouncing around tabs. Just focus. You'd be shocked how much progress you make in just one solid hour of distraction-free effort. 1 hour of deep focus is worth 5 hours of broken, scattered attention. That's not hype. That's reality. If you work on something that matters, protect it. Don't let random noise dilute your results. And the noise isn't just digital. It's also the people around you. If your environment is full of gossip, complaining, or negativity, it's going to affect you, even if you think it won't. Protect your mental space. You don't owe access to everyone. If someone drains your energy every time they speak, limit your time with them. If your space is chaotic, clean it. If your schedule is packed with things that don't matter, say no. You're not rude for setting boundaries. You're responsible. And the more boundaries you create, the more peace you'll have. With peace comes focus. With focus comes real growth. Focus also grows when you stop consuming content 24/7. We live in a time where we can binge information non-stop. Motivational videos, self-help books, podcasts, reels. It feels productive, but consuming too much without action becomes noise. You don't need more information. You need more execution. Take what you already know and put it into action. Use silence. Use space. Use stillness to bring it to life. Take a break from always being on. Put your phone on airplane mode when you're working. Turn off all unnecessary notifications. Block apps that tempt you. Unfollow accounts that bring stress instead of value. It's a simple idea, but few people follow it. Why? Because the noise is addicting. The quick hits, the dopamine, the scrolling. It feels good in the moment, but it drains your long-term focus. Discipline is the antidote. Discipline says, I'm not going to check my phone right now. Discipline says, I'm going to finish this task before moving to the next. Discipline says, I don't care what's trending. I care what's important. And the good news is, discipline grows stronger the more you practice it. Start with small things. Work 25 minutes with 0 distractions. Read without checking your messages. Have a conversation without looking at a screen. It seems simple, but it trains your brain to stay present. And presence is the foundation of focus. When your mind is fully in the moment, you produce better work. You understand deeper. You solve faster. You create more meaningfully. And most of all, you feel more peace. Eliminating noise is not about being perfect. You'll still get distracted. You'll still have off days. That's normal. But the goal is to design a life where noise isn't the default setting. You decide when you open your phone, not your phone deciding for you. You choose what gets your attention, not everything around you. You lead your focus. You don't just react to life. That's how real progress is made. Not by working harder, but by working cleaner. Not by doing more, but by doing what matters, without distraction. Most people won't choose this path. They'll stay in the noise because it's comfortable. They'll say they're too busy to focus. They'll keep waiting for the right time to get serious. But the ones who rise above, they eliminate the noise and lock in on what matters. They protect their focus like it's gold. And in doing that, they unlock the kind of power that changes lives. Not just career success, not just achievement, but mental clarity, emotional strength, inner peace. And that's worth more than any temporary distraction. You don't have to live in a world of constant noise. You can choose clarity. You can choose focus. You can choose a better way. It won't always be easy, but it will always be worth it. Protect your attention. Guard your energy. Eliminate what doesn't serve you. Because when the noise is gone, your vision clears. Your mind sharpens. Your purpose becomes obvious. And that's when the real work begins. Not by doing more, but by finally doing what matters. This is audiobook wisdom. Stay focused, stay intentional, and cut the noise before it cuts your potential. Chapter 3. Train yourself to delay gratification every day. Instant gratification is everywhere. You can click a button and have food delivered in minutes. You can scroll for hours and feel entertained without effort. You can avoid pain, skip struggle, and choose comfort without thinking twice. But comfort doesn't create growth. Discipline does. And discipline is built through delaying gratification on purpose every day. When you delay gratification, you tell your mind something powerful. I don't need to feel good right now. I'm building something better. That mindset changes everything. It turns short-term pleasure into long-term reward. It turns wasted time into intentional effort. It turns chaos into focus. But this kind of thinking isn't natural. Your brain wants the easy path. It wants to avoid stress. It doesn't care about your goals. It just wants relief. So it tells you things like, scroll for a few minutes, you deserve it. Skip the workout, you're too tired. Do it later, there's plenty of time. But what your brain doesn't see is what you're sacrificing. Your future, your strength, your progress. The key is training yourself to pause and think, to choose what's right, not what's easy. Every time you do this, you take back control. You rewire your habits. You rebuild your discipline. Start small. You don't need to flip your life upside down in a day. Pick one area, just one, where you usually give in to instant gratification. Maybe it's checking your phone the second you wake up. Maybe it's reaching for junk food when you're stressed. Maybe it's skipping important tasks for things that feel urgent. Choose one, and then start resisting it, just a little. Not forever, just long enough to prove to yourself, I don't need this right now. I'm in charge. This small act, this delay strengthens you. You might not feel it instantly, but over time, it becomes a habit. And that habit becomes power. Think about what happens when you save money instead of spending it. You build security. You gain options. Think about what happens when you go to the gym even when you don't feel like it. You build consistency. You gain strength. Think about what happens when you say no to distraction and keep working. You build focus. You gain momentum. All of that comes from one thing, choosing long-term gain over short-term pleasure, and no one's going to do that for you. This is your work, your responsibility. But that also means it's your power. You get to choose how you spend your time. You get to choose what you resist and what you pursue. Delaying gratification doesn't mean living like a robot. It means thinking before reacting. It means knowing the difference between what feels good now and what feels good later. Eating dessert isn't bad. Taking breaks isn't bad. But when those habits take over and control your life, you lose sight of what matters. The danger is in letting small decisions become automatic, because what you do every day becomes your life. 1 hour wasted every day adds up to 15 full days in a year. Now imagine using that time with intention. Reading, training, building, creating. That's the power of discipline. That's the reward of delayed gratification. Some people say, I don't have time, but the truth is, they just don't control their time. They've given it away to comfort, to distraction, to momentary pleasure. You can take that control back. It starts with one question: what do I want most? And what am I willing to give up now to get it later? The people who succeed in any area of life are not always the smartest or the most talented. They're the ones who can wait, who can keep going when the reward is far away, who can work in silence while others chase attention. That's real strength. Delayed gratification is not about missing out. It's about building a life where you don't need quick fixes to feel good. You don't need validation. You don't need noise. You feel grounded because you're building something real. And with each disciplined choice, your confidence grows. You look in the mirror and see someone who follows through. You trust yourself. That trust is worth more than any quick reward. It stays with you when things get hard. It keeps you going when others give up. But none of it happens overnight. It happens in the small, quiet moments of decision. When you say no to distraction. When you get up and do the work. When you walk away from something easy and walk towards something meaningful. And no one will notice at first. No one will clap for you. But that's the beauty of this path. It's not about attention. It's about transformation. And transformation doesn't come through comfort. It comes through consistency, through patience, through discipline. Every day, you have the chance to delay one small thing, to wait, to focus, to stay the course. It could be choosing water over soda, reading instead of scrolling, finishing a task before relaxing. These moments build on each other. They shape your character. They change how you show up in the world. You don't need permission. You don't need motivation. You just need to decide, I will wait. I will work. I will win. Not because it's easy, but because it's worth it. In a world that rewards shortcuts, choose the long game. Train your mind every day to say, I don't need this now. I'm building something better. That's how champions are made. That's how real confidence grows. Discipline is not punishment. It's preparation. It's power. And it starts with one choice, then another, then another. Delay what's easy. Pursue what matters. Because nothing feels better than earning the life you want. This is audiobook wisdom. Stay patient, stay focused, and keep building the future that most people won't wait for. Chapter 4. Create a distraction-free zone for important tasks. Most people try to work through distractions instead of removing them. They think they can fight through the noise, resist the temptation, and stay focused. But the truth is, the more you fight your environment, the more energy you waste. Focus shouldn't be a battle. It should be a default setting. And that starts with building a space that supports your goals. A distraction-free zone isn't about being extreme. It's about being intentional. What does your environment say about your priorities? Is your phone within arm's reach when you work? Are there 10 browser tabs open while you try to write or study? Do you keep jumping from one task to another because the space around you makes it too easy to lose control? Your environment is either helping you or hurting you. There is no in-between. When you sit down to work on something important, something that requires your full attention, you need a zone that tells your brain, this is serious, this matters, and here's how you build it. First, remove digital noise. Your phone doesn't just interrupt you. It trains your brain to expect interruption. Put it on silent. Keep it out of reach. Turn off all notifications that aren't essential. Use Do Not Disturb mode. Block distracting websites for a few hours. Give yourself permission to be unreachable while you focus. You don't need to be constantly available. You need to be effective. Second, clear the physical space. Look around your workspace. If it's cluttered, your mind will be too. A messy environment sends the message, there's too much going on. Nothing is in control. You don't need a fancy office. You just need a clean, organized, calm space where your brain can breathe. Keep only what you need in front of you. Put everything else away. The more intentional the space, the more focused the work. Third, define what the zone is for. Every space in your life should have a purpose. If your workspace is also your entertainment space, your brain won't know when to focus and when to relax. If you're trying to be productive on the same couch where you binge-watch shows, don't be surprised when your motivation disappears. Train your brain by training your environment. Use specific spaces for specific activities. This is where I work. This is where I rest. This is where I recharge. The more clear your space is, the faster your brain will switch into gear. Fourth, time block your focus. Even in the best space, your focus needs structure. Don't leave your work hours open-ended. Set a timer. Tell yourself, for the next 60 minutes, this is the only thing that matters. No messages, no checking social media, no jumping from task to task. One task, one focus, one block of time. When that time is up, you can take a break. But during that block, protect your zone like it's sacred, because it is. Distraction doesn't just waste time, it destroys momentum. Every time you're pulled out of deep work, it takes your brain several minutes to get back into the zone. Now imagine being interrupted 10 times during 1 hour. That's the entire hour lost. That's the real cost of distractions. Fifth, communicate your focus to others. If you live or work with people, make your boundaries clear. Let them know when you're unavailable. You don't need to be rude, you just need to be firm. Focus time is not flexible time. It's not negotiable. It's your commitment to yourself, and you have to protect it. If you don't protect your time, no one else will. Sixth, feed your brain what it needs. The environment isn't just physical, it's also internal. Get enough sleep. Drink water. Eat clean. Move your body. You can build the perfect workspace, but if your energy is drained, your focus will still collapse. Fuel your brain so it can show up fully. Mental clarity depends on physical care. Seventh, minimize decision fatigue. The more choices you have to make throughout the day, the less energy you have left to focus. Create routines. Prepare your tasks the night before. Know what you're working on before you sit down. Don't waste your energy deciding what to do. Use it to do the work. Every small decision adds friction. Your job is to remove that friction. Keep it simple. Keep it clear. Keep it focused. Eighth, make your space inspiring. You don't need expensive furniture or fancy tools, but you do need something that reminds you why you're doing the work. A photo, a quote, a whiteboard, a goal written in bold. Put something in your workspace that lights a fire in you, something that brings you back to your purpose. That visual cue can recenter you faster than any motivation video ever will. Because this isn't just about focus, it's about purpose. When you remember your why, your distractions lose their power. Creating a distraction-free zone isn't a one-time setup. It's something you revisit, refine, and reinforce every day. It evolves with you. As your goals grow, your environment should grow with them. This is your space. Make it serve you. And when you do, something powerful happens. You get more done in less time. You feel less overwhelmed and more in control. You stop reacting and start creating. You stop chasing and start building. That kind of clarity changes how you work. It changes how you live. And it all starts with a decision to stop allowing distractions to lead your day. To stop giving your energy away to things that don't matter. To create a zone where only what matters is allowed. You don't need more motivation. You need fewer distractions. You don't need more time. You need deeper focus. And that begins with your environment. Your space is a reflection of your priorities. Design it for focus. Protect it with discipline. Build a zone where your energy flows without resistance. Because in a world filled with noise, the person who controls their environment controls their results. This is audiobook wisdom. Keep your space clear. Keep your focus strong. And watch how much more powerful your work becomes when nothing stands in your way. No more excuses. No more distractions, just focus, action and real progress, right where you are. Chapter 5. Wake up early and start with complete stillness. Most people wake up and jump straight into chaos. They reach for their phones. They scroll. They react. Before their feet even hit the floor, their minds are already flooded. And then they wonder why the rest of their day feels scattered. It's not a mystery. It's a habit. And habits can be changed. Waking up early isn't just for athletes, CEOs, or overachievers. It's for anyone who wants to take their life seriously, because the early hours are quiet. They're uninterrupted. They're yours. When the world is asleep, you have space to breathe. No notifications, no noise, no one asking for anything, just you and the silence. And in that silence, you find clarity. You can hear your thoughts without distraction. You can think about what you want, how you feel, what matters most. That kind of presence is rare, but it's powerful, because it gives you the chance to lead your day instead of reacting to it. The first hour of your day is your foundation. If it's strong, the rest of the day feels lighter. If it's weak, everything feels harder than it has to be. Starting your day with complete stillness doesn't mean doing nothing. It means choosing not to rush. It means taking time to sit in silence, to breathe, to reflect, to move slowly. You don't need to fill your morning with tasks and hustle. You need space to think. And stillness gives you that space. When you sit in silence in the early morning, you notice things you normally ignore. You notice how your body feels. You notice the thoughts that show up without distraction. You notice where your mind wants to go. This is how you take control of your thoughts before they take control of you. Stillness isn't about inactivity. It's about awareness. It gives you the ability to respond instead of react, to lead instead of follow, to decide instead of drift. And in that calm, you set your intentions. You remind yourself what really matters today. Not just what's urgent, but what's important. That clarity helps you prioritize. It gives your day structure and purpose. Without it, you're just reacting to everything that comes your way. Messages, emails, opinions, news. And suddenly, your day is gone, and you don't even remember what you actually wanted to do. Waking up early is your opportunity to break that cycle, to start fresh, to reset, to lead from the inside out. Now, getting up early doesn't mean cutting your sleep short. It means adjusting your schedule so you can rise before the world and own those quiet hours. It might feel hard at first, but the discomfort fades and the benefits stay. Start by waking up just 30 minutes earlier than usual. Use that time not for work, but for stillness. Sit, breathe, think, reflect. You don't need to scroll. You don't need to consume anything. You need to be. Let your mind settle before it gets pulled in 100 directions. Let your body adjust before you rush out the door. This is your space to realign, to reset, to reconnect. Over time, this becomes your anchor. No matter how loud the world gets, you've already built your center. No matter how chaotic the day becomes, you started with clarity. And that makes a difference, because you've trained your mind to slow down. You've trained your energy to stay calm. You've trained your focus to stay sharp. Now you move through the day with intention, not pressure. Now you make choices based on purpose, not reaction. Now you operate from strength, not stress. This practice doesn't cost money. It doesn't require special tools. Just a decision to wake up before the noise and start with silence. That one decision can change everything. You'll notice your thoughts are clearer, your emotions are more stable, your goals feel more real, and you'll realize how much of your stress came from starting the day in chaos. Stillness builds control. Stillness builds clarity. Stillness builds discipline. And those three qualities shape everything you do. You become better at work, more present in relationships, more grounded in your purpose. And most of all, you stop feeling like a victim of time. You stop saying, "I don't have time," because now you've created it. Those quiet hours become your secret weapon. They give you a head start while everyone else is still sleeping, still scrolling, still reacting. But this isn't about being better than anyone. It's about being better for yourself. You're not waking up early to prove something. You're doing it to build something. Something steady, something strong, something real. And when you stack enough mornings like that, you start to transform, not just in how you work, but in how you live. You become more aware, more intentional, more powerful, all because you chose stillness over speed, discipline over chaos, clarity over comfort. This is a path most people won't take. They'll keep rushing, keep reacting, keep wondering why life feels overwhelming. But not you. You've seen what stillness gives you. And now, it's part of who you are. Wake up early. Start in silence. Own your morning before the world steals your attention. That quiet space you create each day becomes the foundation of your strength. Not just physical strength, but mental clarity, emotional control, and spiritual depth. You don't need to wake up perfect. You just need to wake up present. And when you start each day with stillness, you don't just improve your mornings, you elevate your life. This is audiobook wisdom. Start strong, stay centered, and move through the world with calm, clear purpose. One quiet morning at a time. Chapter 6. Stick to a simple routine without excuses. Excuses are easy. Discipline is not. But discipline doesn't come from doing more. It comes from doing less with more focus. A simple routine is your foundation. It doesn't need to be complicated or impressive. It needs to be clear, repeatable, and aligned with your priorities. Every time you skip the mental debate, should I do this or not, you conserve energy. You're not wasting time making decisions. You're not relying on willpower. You're simply following a structure you've already committed to. That's how discipline is built. Through clarity, not pressure. Most people wait to feel ready before they take action. But readiness is unreliable. Some days you'll feel inspired. Other days you won't. If your progress depends on how you feel, your growth will always be inconsistent. A simple routine removes that barrier. It creates a non-negotiable rhythm. Wake up, move, work, reflect. Whatever the steps are, keep them clear, keep them consistent. Excuses often show up in moments of friction, when you're tired, when you're overwhelmed, when things aren't going your way. That's where a simple routine becomes powerful, because instead of trying to figure out what to do, you already know. You've already decided. So you do the thing, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it's boring, even when nobody's watching. That's what separates progress from procrastination. Discipline isn't about working harder. It's about removing the need to negotiate with yourself. And you do that by sticking to a structure that serves you. You don't need a long list of goals. You need a few core habits you execute without fail. It could be a short morning ritual, a set time to work without distractions, a daily moment of stillness or reflection, a commitment to sleep and recovery. Whatever it is, keep it simple, because simplicity increases sustainability. Complicated routines collapse under stress. Simple ones hold firm, even on your worst days. A powerful routine doesn't have to be rigid. It needs to be clear and flexible enough to adapt. The goal is consistency, not perfection. If you miss a step, don't throw the whole routine away. Return to it the next hour, the next day. What matters most is that you come back to it, again and again. That's how you build resilience, not by being perfect, but by being consistent. And the fewer excuses you allow, the stronger that consistency becomes. Most people say, "I don't have time." But time isn't the issue. Clarity and commitment are. When you value something, you make time for it. When your routine matters, you protect it. You don't wait for perfect conditions. You build in all conditions, even when you're tired, even when you're discouraged, even when you feel like quitting. Excuses shrink when your identity changes. When you stop seeing discipline as something you force and start seeing it as something you are, it's no longer "I have to do this." It becomes, "This is what I do. This is who I am." That shift eliminates the need for daily motivation. You're not waking up each day wondering what version of you will show up. You already know, because your routine anchors you. It holds you steady. It keeps you aligned, and when your actions are aligned, your results follow. This doesn't mean your routine has to be perfect from day one. It will evolve. It will grow with you. But it should never be so complex that you avoid it. Keep it simple. Keep it real. And above all, keep showing up. Think of your routine like bricks. Each habit you follow is one brick in the wall of your success. Excuses remove bricks. Consistency stacks them. Over time, that wall becomes unshakable. It becomes the structure that supports your goals, your mindset, your growth. Discipline isn't built in one intense week. It's built by repeating simple actions, day after day, without excuses. So ask yourself, what are the 2 or 3 things I need to do every day, no matter what? Write them down, make them visible, and commit. These become your anchors. When life gets loud, when stress hits, when things fall apart, these habits keep you grounded, and they're yours. No one can take them away. They don't rely on the approval of others. They don't require perfect conditions. They just require you to show up and do them. When you build your life around this kind of structure, everything becomes simpler. You stop chasing motivation. You stop overthinking. You stop making excuses. And in that space you gain momentum. You create wins, not just once, but every day. Because your discipline becomes automatic. This isn't about controlling every second of your day. It's about being intentional with the moments that matter. And those moments add up. They create your outcomes. They shape your character. They define your future. When your routine is simple and your excuses are gone, there's no confusion. There's just action. And over time that action becomes transformation. Discipline doesn't start with motivation. It starts with a decision. A decision to build a simple routine and to follow it without excuses. No matter how small the steps, if they're consistent, they create progress. And in that progress you find confidence. You stop waiting. You stop doubting. You just move. This is audiobook wisdom. Silence your doubts. Focus on what matters. Discipline your actions. And watch your life shift, one small, steady, consistent step at a time. That's the path no one talks about. And it's the one that actually works. Chapter 7. Turn off all notifications during deep work hours. Every notification is a demand on your mind. A pull, a tug, a redirection. One message turns into 5. One alert opens a rabbit hole, and before you know it, the time you carved out for progress is gone. What could have been 90 minutes of powerful, focused work becomes a scattered hour of reacting to things that weren't urgent in the first place. That's the silent cost of distractions. They don't just steal your time. They steal your ability to think clearly, work deeply, and finish what matters. The solution isn't complicated, but it does require intention. Turn off every notification during your deep work hours. Not most of them, not some of the time, all of them, every time. That one habit can multiply your productivity without adding any extra effort, because when distractions disappear, your attention sharpens. Think about what actually happens when you're interrupted. Even if the message is short, even if you don't respond, it breaks your flow. Your brain switches context. Your concentration resets, and science proves it. Studies show it can take over 20 minutes to regain full focus after a single distraction. Now imagine you get 3 or 4 notifications every hour. That's your entire day being spent in recovery mode, not progress mode. Turning notifications off isn't about being unreachable. It's about being intentional. You're choosing when to focus and when to engage, not reacting every time your phone lights up. During your deep work hours, your energy belongs to your mission, not to a comment, not to a random news alert, not to a group chat that can wait. When you commit to deep work, you must build a wall around your attention. Put your phone in another room. Close every browser tab you don't need. Shut off all digital alerts, sounds, badges, banners, and go all in. 1 hour of pure focus will outperform 5 hours of distracted multitasking. Because deep work compounds. It builds on itself. You get into flow. You see connections. You produce at a higher level. And that quality is what separates good from great. Not just in your work, but in your life. Think about any major accomplishment, writing a book, launching a business, mastering a craft. None of it happens in 5-minute bursts between distractions. It happens in silence, in solitude, in focused hours where your mind can stretch, struggle, and eventually break through. And that kind of work can only survive when you remove the noise. Some people argue, but I need to stay connected. The truth is, most things can wait. And if they can't, they should be part of a scheduled check-in, not a constant interruption. You can check your messages at 12 p.m. and 4 p.m. You can return missed calls after your work session. The world won't fall apart, and your mind will thank you for the quiet. Discipline means setting boundaries, not just with people, but with your own habits. Every time you feel the urge to check your phone, pause. Ask yourself, is this helping me finish what I started, or pulling me away from it? That question alone can break the automatic loop of distraction. The more you practice deep work, the more you realize how little you need the noise. You stop craving the dopamine hits. You stop needing constant input, and you start craving results. Your brain adapts. Your focus sharpens. You begin to respect your own time, and once you reach that level, you'll start to see what most people never do. Clarity in your goals. Clarity in your actions. Clarity in your thinking. Because your mind finally has space to breathe. You don't have to run away to a cabin in the woods. You just need to create deep work hours that are sacred. 90 minutes. 2 hours. Even one focused hour a day can change everything. During that time, protect your mind like a fortress. Turn off every notification. Tell your environment, this time is mine. This focus is non-negotiable, and the results will speak for themselves. You'll finish things faster. You'll produce at a higher quality. You'll feel less scattered. And you'll end your day with the quiet confidence that you gave your best. In a distracted world, focus is your superpower. But like any power, it must be protected. Because if you don't take control of your attention, someone else will. An app, a feed, a notification that pretends to be urgent but adds no value. Every time you silence your phone, you strengthen your mind. Every time you guard your focus, you invest in your future. This isn't about being perfect. It's about being intentional. You don't need to be unreachable 24/7, but you do need to be unreachable when it matters most. That's when the real work happens. That's when transformation begins. Because it's not just about turning off notifications. It's about turning on your full potential. Distraction is easy. Focus is earned. If you want to create something meaningful, you have to guard your attention like it's your greatest resource, because it is. Turn off all notifications during your deep work hours. Give your mind the silence it needs to perform at its best. It may feel uncomfortable at first, but it will transform your output, your clarity, and your peace. This is audiobook wisdom. Powerful work requires powerful focus. Silence the noise, show up with presence, and build something that matters without interruption. Chapter 8. Journal in silence to master your emotions. Every day you experience a flood of emotions. Some are obvious, some are subtle. Many are never named. You feel them, but you don't process them. You react, but you don't always understand why. And when emotions go unexamined, they start to shape your life without your permission. One moment of unprocessed frustration leads to an argument. One unnoticed fear stops you from taking a step forward. One ignored resentment slowly drains your energy. This is why emotional mastery begins with awareness. Not by controlling emotions through force, but by exploring them with honesty. Journaling in silence gives you that opportunity. It creates a private space where nothing is filtered. There are no interruptions, no opinions, no pressure to explain yourself. Just your thoughts, your feelings, and the raw truth waiting to be seen. Writing in silence brings you face to face with the patterns that often stay hidden, the worries that keep resurfacing, the doubts that sabotage your goals, the fears that influence your choices. Once you put them on paper, they lose their grip. Clarity begins when chaos is brought into the light. Journaling helps you name what you're feeling, and naming is powerful. When you can say, "I feel anxious because I'm afraid of failure," you're no longer consumed by a vague sense of dread. You've identified the emotion, located its source, and taken the first step toward resolution. Journaling also helps you track how your emotions shift. You begin to notice that anger comes up when your boundaries are crossed. That sadness often follows disappointment. That joy appears when you're fully present. This awareness teaches you emotional patterns. It gives you emotional literacy. And when you become fluent in your own emotional language, you stop reacting and start responding with intention. In silence, the mind settles. You begin to write more truthfully. You stop performing, stop editing, stop avoiding. You write not to impress, but to uncover. Sometimes your writing will feel heavy. You may confront regrets you've been avoiding. You may face guilt, envy, or grief. That's part of the process. Avoiding these feelings only prolongs them, but facing them quietly, patiently, without judgment, dissolves their intensity. Over time, the journal becomes more than a notebook. It becomes a mirror, a teacher, a sanctuary. You write about things you're grateful for. You write about the people you love. You remember your strengths, You document progress, and in that space your self-awareness grows. This practice strengthens emotional regulation. When you process your emotions on the page, you don't need to project them onto others. You stop venting impulsively. You stop bottling up tension until it explodes. You handle your feelings before they turn into problems. Journaling also builds resilience, because when you regularly reflect, you gain perspective. You start to notice how much you've overcome. You see that pain you thought was permanent actually passed. You realize you've handled more than you give yourself credit for. That realization builds emotional confidence, the kind that doesn't come from motivational slogans, but from sitting with your truth day after day and choosing to grow from it. This quiet writing time becomes your emotional reset, a moment of pause in a loud world. You may start your day by clearing your head. You may end your day by releasing tension. Either way, you create a habit of mental hygiene, just like brushing your teeth, but for your heart and mind. Journaling in silence also increases self-trust. You start to believe yourself. You learn that your emotions are valid, even when they're uncomfortable. And as you witness your own honesty on the page, you no longer fear your inner world. Most people are afraid of being alone with their thoughts, not because the thoughts are dangerous, but because they've never practiced listening to them without judgment. Silence can feel unfamiliar, but once embraced, it becomes freeing. The world constantly tells you how to feel. Social media offers instant opinions. News headlines stir anxiety. Everyone wants your reaction. But your journal, it waits. It doesn't rush. It doesn't comment. It just listens. And in that silence, your real voice returns. You become less reactive to the outside world and more grounded in your inner one. There is also a practical side to this. By journaling regularly, you start to make better decisions. Because emotion no longer clouds your judgment. You've already processed the noise, and what's left is clarity. You don't get swept up in temporary feelings. You act from a place of centered understanding. You also begin to notice progress in real time. You reread entries from last month and realize how far you've come. Problems that once felt overwhelming now seem manageable. This reflection reinforces growth. It keeps you motivated. To build this habit, keep your tools simple. A quiet room, a blank notebook, a pen, no typing, no editing, just flow. Some days you may write a few lines, other days pages. The length doesn't matter. What matters is that you show up with honesty. Write about what you're carrying, what you're avoiding, what you're excited about, what's hurting, what you're learning, even what you don't understand yet. And don't worry about being eloquent. The power of journaling isn't in how beautifully you write. It's in how truthfully you do. Silence matters here, because silence sharpens your attention. It eliminates outside influence. It forces you to face your thoughts directly, without distraction. That's where transformation happens. Over time, you'll find that your emotional reactions soften. You pause before you speak. You think before you act. You feel something, write it down, and release it, rather than letting it build into a storm. This isn't therapy, it's self-reflection. But it can be just as healing, because the act of writing teaches you presence. And presence brings peace. You stop chasing emotional highs. You stop fearing lows. You begin to live with deeper stability, grounded not in control but in understanding. Mastering your emotions isn't about suppressing them. It's about meeting them with honesty. And the quiet act of journaling, done daily, without noise, opens the door to that mastery. In a world that encourages noise, choose stillness. In a world that rewards distraction, choose reflection. Journal in silence, not to escape your emotions, but to embrace them with clarity. Because once you understand your inner world, nothing outside of you can shake your foundation. This is audiobook wisdom. Your mind deserves peace. Your emotions deserve understanding. And both begin, one quiet page at a time. Chapter 9. From the Mind of Audiobook Wisdom. The hardest task in your day isn't just a task, it's a test. Not of skill, but of discipline. Not of talent, but of resolve. When you avoid it, it doesn't disappear. It follows you. It lingers in your thoughts. It drains your energy. It whispers in the background, creating anxiety, guilt, and resistance. But once you face it, head on, without bargaining, you change your relationship with discomfort. You prove to yourself that you're not controlled by hesitation. You act from strength, not fear, and that one act can elevate your entire day. This isn't just about productivity. It's about identity. Every time you delay a hard task, you reinforce a message. I choose ease over excellence. But every time you do the hard thing first, you reinforce a new belief. I follow through, no matter how I feel. That belief reshapes how you show up. In work, in goals, in life. Hard tasks tend to be the most meaningful. They require focus, effort, and courage. They're often the things that move your life forward. Launching the business, having the honest conversation, building the skill, making the decision. That's why they feel hard. They matter, and because they matter, resistance always shows up. Your mind offers every excuse. Start later. You're tired. Just do something easier first. Wait for the perfect moment. But that voice isn't helping you. It's protecting your comfort zone. And growth never happens there. To win the day, start by identifying the single most important task, the one that will move your life forward. Not the most urgent, not the easiest, the most important. Then commit to doing it first. Not when you feel like it. Not after checking messages. First, this habit changes everything. When you begin your day with the hardest task, several things happen. Your willpower is strongest in the morning. Discipline is like a battery. It gets depleted with every decision you make. That's why doing the hard thing early gives you the best chance of success. You tackle it before fatigue sets in, before distractions hijack your focus. You eliminate the emotional burden of procrastination. Avoiding the hard task doesn't save energy. It drains it. You think about it all day. You feel stressed. You lose momentum. But once it's done, your mind clears. You feel accomplished. And that emotional relief fuels the rest of your day. You build self-respect. Following through on hard things builds trust in yourself. You stop breaking promises to your future. You stop letting your feelings dictate your actions. That internal alignment, doing what you said you would do, builds quiet confidence. You create momentum. Progress creates energy. When you complete a difficult task early, your mindset shifts. You stop dreading the day. You feel capable, focused, and ahead. That energy spills into everything else. Now, doing the hardest task first doesn't mean rushing or being reckless. It means showing up with intention and clarity. It means scheduling focused time, eliminating distractions, and honoring that commitment like a non-negotiable appointment with your future. The key phrase is, without negotiation. That means you don't debate it in your head. You don't check how you feel. You don't look for loopholes. You decide once, and then you follow through. This is how elite performers operate. They don't wait for motivation. They use systems. They rely on structure. They build habits that bypass excuses, and one of the most powerful habits is this: front-load your day with what matters most. Here's a simple framework to follow. Step 1. Identify your highest leverage task. What's the one thing that, if completed, would make the biggest impact today? Not 10 things. One thing. Write it down. Step 2. Block focused time early. Protect the first one. 2 hours of your day. No meetings, no emails, no social media, just focused work on that one task. Even 30-60 minutes can create massive progress if uninterrupted. Step 3. Prepare in advance. Set up everything the night before. Clear your desk. Open the tools you'll need. Know exactly what starting looks like. This reduces friction in the morning. Step 4. Begin without delay. Don't overthink. Don't rationalize. Just start. Once you begin, momentum takes over. The hardest part is usually starting. Step 5. Finish before doing anything else. Don't reward yourself with distractions. Finish the task or make meaningful progress before checking messages or moving to something easier. If you repeat this process every day, your life will shift, slowly at first, then significantly. You'll start noticing consistent forward movement. You'll stop carrying the weight of unfinished work, and you'll develop a powerful mindset. I do what matters most, even when it's hard. Some days will be easier than others. Some tasks will feel overwhelming, but the discipline to begin, again and again, will become your greatest asset. And it's not about being perfect. It's about building a rhythm. Even if you struggle, even if you fail one day, you return to the practice the next, because the goal is progress, not perfection. This discipline also spills into other areas of life. You start approaching difficult conversations with courage. You begin facing challenges at work without avoidance. You stop escaping into distractions every time something feels uncomfortable. Doing the hard thing first becomes a mindset, a lifestyle, one that shapes your character and sharpens your focus. You no longer wait for things to get easier. You get stronger, you get focused, you get disciplined, and that creates results most people only wish for. Every morning gives you a chance to lead your life forward, and that leadership begins with one decision: to do the hardest task first, without hesitation, without bargaining, without excuse. The people who win in life are not those who avoid hard things. They are those who do them consistently. Start with the challenge. Start with the discomfort. Start with what matters, because how you begin determines how far you'll go. This is audiobook wisdom. Discipline starts with a single choice. Make it, and watch your life rise. Chapter 10. Stay consistent, even when motivation disappears. Motivation can be helpful, but it can never be your foundation. It's an emotion, and emotions are fleeting. You feel motivated after hearing a powerful quote or watching an inspiring video. But the next morning, when it's cold, quiet, and difficult, motivation won't get you out of bed. What will? A system, a commitment, a decision made in advance. Consistency is about building habits that function regardless of how you feel. In the early stages of any goal, motivation is usually high. You're excited, you're focused, you're optimistic. But over time, that energy fades. Life gets busy, challenges show up, you hit plateaus. That's where most people fall off. They stop showing up because the spark is gone. But those who understand consistency don't rely on sparks. They build routines. They set non-negotiable standards. They structure their life in a way that reduces friction. They don't chase motivation. they create momentum. And here's the key truth. Consistency creates motivation, not the other way around. When you take action consistently, even without excitement, you begin to feel proud. You begin to see results, and that feedback fuels more action. It becomes a loop. Act, progress, confidence, repeat. So how do you stay consistent when motivation disappears? It begins with why. You must know your reason, not a shallow one, a deep one that matters enough to carry you through hard days. If your goal is to get healthy, why? To feel confident again, to be around for your kids, to break generational habits. The deeper the why, the stronger your foundation. Once your why is clear, you need structure, not wishful thinking, a real system. Here's a practical framework to build consistency without relying on motivation. 1. Make it easy to start. The hardest part of any task is beginning. Remove all friction from your starting point. Set your environment up the night before. Prepare your workspace. Lay out your gym clothes. Open the file you need. When the path is clear, resistance weakens. 2. Set a non-negotiable minimum standard. Don't aim for perfect days. Aim for consistent ones. Define a daily minimum you can stick to, even on your worst days. If your goal is to write, commit to 10 minutes a day, even if you're tired. That low bar keeps the habit alive. And once you start, you often do more than expected. 3. Track your progress visually. Use a calendar, a checklist, a journal. Mark your progress each day. This creates visual proof that you're moving forward. The longer the streak, the harder it is to break. You won't want to ruin the chain, and that becomes its own motivation. 4. Create accountability. Share your goals with someone. Check in weekly, or join a community. Knowing someone will notice if you skip builds a layer of pressure, not fear-based, responsibility-based. 5. Adjust your identity. Stop saying, "I want to be consistent." Start saying, "I am someone who shows up daily." The way you describe yourself matters. Identity drives behavior. If you see yourself as disciplined, you'll act in ways that match that belief. Change your language. Change your actions. 6. Build routines around your habits. Pair your new habit with an existing one. This is called habit stacking. For example, after brushing your teeth, journal for 5 minutes. After your morning coffee, plan your top 3 priorities. These anchors make consistency easier because they're tied to something you already do. 7. Embrace boredom. The most successful people in the world aren't the most excited. They're the most consistent, even when things feel boring. Boredom is not a signal to stop. It's a sign you're doing the reps. And reps lead to mastery. 8. Prepare for hard days. Some days you'll feel off. That's normal. Build a plan for those days in advance. What's your backup routine when you're low on energy? Maybe it's a shorter workout, a simpler task, a lighter load. But do something. Show up, even at 50%. It's better than 0%. 9. Rest strategically, not reactively. Don't wait until you're burned out to rest. Schedule recovery. Use rest as fuel, not as an escape. Recovery keeps consistency sustainable. You can't run at 100% forever, but you can maintain 80% consistently with rest. 10. Celebrate consistency, not intensity. Stop waiting for huge results to celebrate. Start rewarding the process. Every time you follow through on your plan, acknowledge it. That trains your brain to associate action with positive emotion, even when motivation is low. The truth is, success is boring. It's doing the right thing, over and over, without applause, without hype, without waiting for the perfect conditions. It's showing up, again and again, when no one notices. Because you notice, that's the edge. Most people show up only when they feel like it. You show up because it's who you are. And over time that difference becomes massive. The gym session no one saw. The quiet morning you used to write. The journaling session that calmed your mind. The daily action that seemed small but wasn't. Consistency compounds. Quiet effort becomes visible progress. Invisible habits become unstoppable momentum. And eventually people ask, how did you do it? The answer isn't magic. It's not motivation. It's discipline. It's structure. It's a decision, repeated daily.